everything that you need to do, but it's up to you to do it. It's up to you to make that change. It's up to you to claim what God has for you. Nobody can stop you but you. And let me tell you how the devil operates. He knows that he cannot close the door that God has already opened for you. So what he'll do is he'll throw distractions in front of you. He'll throw things in your way to try to get you to say, man, I'm tired of fighting this. I'm tired of going over this hurdle, this obstacle, this test, and just throw in the towel. But the only thing that can stop you is you. Somebody say that. The only thing that can stop me is me. 1 Samuel chapter 30, verses 6 through 9. Now David was greatly distressed, for the people spoke of stoning him, because the soul of all the people had been grieved, every man for his sons and his daughters. But David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. Then David said to Abiathar, however you say it, the priest, Ahimelech's son, please bring the ephod here to me. And Abiathar, that's it, brought the ephod to David. So David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I pursue this troop? Shall I overtake them? And he answered, pursue. Somebody shout, pursue. For you shall surely overtake them, and without fail recover all. So David went, he and 600 men who were with him. And they came to the brook of Besor, where those stayed who were left behind. But David pursued, he and 400 men, for 200 stayed behind them, who were so weary they could not cross the brook of Besor. This is a season where those who really want what God has for them are going to claim it. I've noticed how God operates almost oxymoronic to the idea of how society thinks. Society says we're in a recession. Saying nobody got no money, but yet still God's people are still getting blessed. Society says that most of you in here would have been statistics, to where you wouldn't have graduated high school. How many graduates we got here? Are y'all excited? Are y'all just barely made it out? Oh yeah! So many graduates like, thank God that's over. I'm done. Hallelujah. Cool. But see, in this season, you have to understand that in order for you to get what God has for you, you got to go get it. Let me give you a little history about this story. Now, David is an Israelite. What happens is that I'll go back a little further. Saul, who was the king of Israel at the time, was prophesied to by Samuel and said, God is going to snatch your kingdom and give it to this boy named David. Now, that's crazy to hear something from a man of God that say, God's going to take everything you got and give it to somebody else. So what happens is he said, okay, cool. You think he's just going to give it to David? Well, I'm going to kill David before he get it. So David went on the run. He was running hiding everywhere. Him, his men, his family, running because Saul was looking for him. Because he said, you think you're going to take this kingdom from me, but I guarantee you I ain't going to let you have it without fighting. So David was running scared. Somebody say scared. Running scared, he was hiding everywhere. So what happens is that David decides, okay, how can I get this dude off my tail? Because he keeps chasing me, he won't stop me. That just ain't Gucci. So how do I get him off my tail? I know what I can do. I'm going to take refuge with the Philistines. With the Philistines? David, don't the Israelites and the Philistines hate each other? Wasn't Goliath a Philistine that you slew with the slingshot and the 5 stones? Yeah, let me go hang out with the Philistines. Okay, cool. So you run over there, you talk to one of the leaders of the Philistines, say, hey, can I shack up with y'all, man, because Saul looking for me and I ain't trying to get into that war with him. Cool, y'all can stay here. Stick around with the Philistines, they gave him some land. Now there were contingencies upon rooming with the enemy. I'll say that again. There are contingencies upon rooming with the enemy. Because some of y'all are rooming with the enemy, not even knowing the contingencies you are agreeing to. Say, okay, cool, what I'll do is, I'll hang out with those who really don't mean me no good because they have a good time. Not knowing that I'm agreeing to the contingency that I'm going to walk in this area of sin with you all. I'll move on, because I got quiet right here. So what happens is he rooms up with the Philistines. They gave him some land. They said, okay, if you're going to stay here, what you're going to have to do is, you're going to have to fight with us if we go fight the Israelites. So you're going to have to come with us to fight your old homeboys, all your family, whatever the case may be, because we let you stay here. David say, cool. I go to war with you, that's fine. But Saul trying to kill me anyway, so I might as well go out there and, kill him. So in this season, David is staying there, waiting for them to go to battle. While he's waiting there, they doing folk dirty. They keep going to people's tribes, and they kill everybody in the tribe and take all their food. That's how they would survive. David was a gangster, I'm telling you. It was not a game. He went into, and one of the groups called the Amalekites. Somebody say Amalekites. Went in there and stole all their stuff, killed everybody. Everybody. The women, the babies, 2 years old, no matter. Dead. Killed them. And what they was doing, they said, okay, we'll do this. This is how we'll survive while we're staying with the Philistines. So then it came time for the Philistines to battle with the Israelites. They said, you got to go to war with us. They said, cool, we'll do that. But the rest of the Philistine leaders was like, man, I don't trust them. I don't trust them. Because what's going to happen is we're going to get ready to fight the Israelites, and they're going to switch on us, and then we're going to lose the battle. So y'all got to get up out of here. It's like, all right, cool, y'all want us to leave? We'll leave. On their way back, they get to their spot, took them 3 days to get back, and all they see is fire. Everything burned to the ground. Houses, everything gone. All their women and their children taken as slaves. By who? The Amalekites. When I said Amalekites, some of the people who they just came and rolled up on their homes, so they came and said, we're going to return the favor. But they didn't kill everybody. They just said, we're going to take them as slaves. Now you're caught up to where we are now. So they get there, they see everything gone, and David was just distressed. They talk about in the scripture in verse 3 how it says they just cried, so they ain't had no power to cry no more. You ever had one of them good deep cries? Like one of them ugly cries. Not one of them, see, what happens is that a lot of times we don't want people to see us cry. So, we try to, especially men, we try to hit them with the hard cry. That's how you fight it, because you're always taking a deep breath. But I'm talking about one of them ugly cries. Like your grandmama just died cries. Oh, them there was, you don't want nobody to see you. That one of them, see you snot running. Snot running down here. That's when you know you're crying hard. When you got a snot bubble sitting right here, just nasty. That's how they was crying. I'm talking about deep crying. I'm talking about on their face till they had no more power to cry anymore. Some of y'all did that, y'all done woke up with somebody broke up with you, and you just cried yourself to sleep. Laying in your bed, you just, I love him. I thought he was the one. Jesus! Wow! He just cries and he got no more energy left. He just going to sleep. Just be crying. Wow! Jesus! Why, Jesus? That's how they was crying. Deep crying. All their wives, kids gone, slaves. So what's crazy is because he came back with all his homies. All the people who were stuck around with him who said, David, we got your back. No matter what happens, we got your back. You ever had somebody say that, young? I got you. I had some homies I used to kick with. No matter what happened, they had my back. I didn't have to fight no more. I hung around with some big dudes who was ready to get a poppy at any moment's notice. But sometimes, the people who say they're for you are not for you. First point, don't mistake a person's following for their loyalty. Don't mistake a person's following for their loyalty, because you may have a whole bunch of people with you. I got your back, but as soon as stuff go left, you see in verse 6, his homies, they were so mad, they was talking about stoning him. Now, we don't do that nowadays. Can you imagine that? You mess up with somebody, nah, man, bring the rocks. Bring the rocks out here. Bring me the rocks. All his homies, now they've been with him. David has been taking them from place to place, finding them refuge, housing, land, food, and then they turn on and say, man, look, you done got all our people taken. Hey, this is about to go down. What's so crazy to me is because every time David went out to say, okay, we're going to roll up on these Amalekites and take all this stuff, it wasn't nobody that said, nah, man, that ain't cool. Everybody was like, yep, we going to do it. Take all their cattle. And then as soon as something happened, they're ready to bring out the rocks. Don't mistake a person's following for their loyalty. Next point in verse 6. After they cried, And I mean cry, cry, cry. David realized that you cannot stay in a state of grief for too long. You can't keep throwing your own pity party. For those of you who are willing to go get what God has for you, you got to strengthen yourself in the Lord, which is what David did. He didn't stay there. They cried. Yeah, sometimes you're going to have some situations that's going to make you cry. I'm talking about make you boo-hoo with the snot bubble and everything. But you can't stay there for too long. You got to be able to shake some stuff off and say, okay, listen, I've been through that. It hurt. They left me. They said they was going to be there. I grew up without a father. Look, this will happen to me. I've been raped. I've been molested. Okay, now what you going to do about it? What you going to do about it? You're not responsible for what happened to you, but you are responsible for how you respond to what happened to you. You can't stay in that state of grief too long, because then that slips into depression. Then you be in the house for 2 weeks straight, same pair of drawers on. That's depression. When you don't take no shower, you don't brush your teeth, you be eating leftovers that been there for about 3 weeks, because you don't even care. You ever see somebody depressed? They don't care about life at all. They just be picking up stuff, don't even know what it is. Man, what is this? I don't know. Just depressed. Don't care. You can't stay in a state of grief too long, because that's the trick of the enemy to pull you into that spirit of depression. And then you be stuck there. Check this. Next part, after identifying those people who really don't have your back, you have to be connected to the people who know how to endure. Somebody say endure. In order to go get what God has for you, you got to have the right people in your camp. I'm talking about bona fide riders that say, you know what, I don't care, come hell or high water, I got your back. We going all the way. Because what happened is David left out with 600 people. 600 men. We going to get back everything that God said that we could have. He asked God, shall I pursue? God said, go get it. Cool. Rally the troops. Let's go get our stuff. They got to the brook. 200 of them said, I'm straight. I'm cool. I'm tired. It's funny to me how you can be connected to people and you're always giving to them, but as soon as you need something, they tired. You ever been in that situation? Well, you had some friends who like, whenever they call you, I don't care if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, they just go over with their boyfriend, they call you, girl, let me tell you. You right there, tell me, girl, what happened? No, he didn't. What did you say? Word or stop. But as soon as you need them, they don't even pick up the phone. You calling them, man, I need you. You leaving them voicemails, and 9 times out of 10, you know what they're doing. Looking at their phone. Yeah, I call them that. Some of us do that to people when we don't want to talk. We look at the phone, I'll talk to mama tomorrow. I don't feel like it. Because I know she's going to ask me about, I cut that grass. And I know I did, so we'll talk later. You have to be connected to people who know how to endure, who can push past the pain. Because when you get weak, you need somebody that's pushing you. You need somebody saying, man, you can do this. I don't care what it look like. You can recover everything that you lost. But a lot of times we connect with people and say, man, don't even try, man. Don't worry about it. You lost it. Your kids, yeah, they slaves. Make some more kids. Yeah, you lost your wife. Get another one. Connect with the wrong people. You gotta be around people who know how to endure, who know how to push past stuff, and push you past stuff. What's crazy to me, what I love about David is that he's a man of principle. Somebody say principle. When you operate on principles, you regulate results and you minimize your mistakes. When you operate on principle, you regulate results and you minimize mistakes. A lot of times we get up and we just wing it. Say, yeah, I want to live holy for you, God, but I ain't got no principles, so I'm just go out here and just try. I'm going to just whatever. Then we get out here and Keisha's been in that corner. And then all of a sudden, because we ain't got no principles, shout out what your name is. Let me holler at you. Tyrone come around with the button down here, with the baby oil glistening on his chest. All this is out, no undershirt, 30 degrees, but he don't care. He wants you to see all of this. And because we don't got that principle locked in. Verse 8 and verse 23 and 22, you see where David had a major issue. But his principle was that when I have an issue, I go to God. I don't go to my friends because they'll influence me to do the wrong thing. When I'm stuck in a hard spot, David said, I strengthen myself in the Lord. And see, a lot of times we find strength in people. Say, listen, man, I'm hurt, I'm heartbroken. When you're vulnerable, you just got out of a relationship, and people know that you're vulnerable, that's when they bring that strength. Well, listen, you can find strength in me. I got you, baby. I know he hurt you. I would never do that to you. I would never say that. Girl, you too fine to be crying. Come on, baby, listen. How about this? How about this? How about this? No. How about this? Let me take you out. I'm going to show you a good time. Get your mind off of that loser. This, that hero. Get with the hero, baby. I'm right here. I'm right here in your eyes. I'm right here. When you're vulnerable, that's when people prey on that. But see, when you got principles, when your principle says, listen, I don't just rush into relationships, you minimize mistakes. When you got principles that say, I take my time, I don't just rush into things. You ain't just gonna get it on the first night. You ain't gonna get it till you put a ring on. When you got principles, you minimize mistakes. Because what happens is when we just winging it, and he hits you with the baby, just let me take you out. Come on, listen, you too far. Come here, let me wipe your tears. Come here. And then it's like, okay. Come, he wipe his tears. And he run his hand over your ear. Down your neck. Now he down your shirt. Then all of a sudden, what? Mistakes. Because then, well, he said he loved me. He said he got my back. Then it's over. I appreciate it. What? But you said you love me. Principles. When you operate on principles, you regulate your results. You'll know who is really for you if you take that time to weigh out all the pros and cons of the relationship. When they say, okay, well, why can't we kiss? Because I don't know you like that. Yeah. I don't even know how many people you didn't kiss yesterday. And your breath stank. When you operate on principles, you regulate results and minimize mistakes. What are your principles? What are your principles? David's principle was to seek direction. David lost everything. Everything. Houses, all his food, land, wives, kids, gone. Seek direction to prevent backtracking and wasting valuable energy. You gotta seek direction. David lost it all, but he didn't just say, man, forget this junk. I'm going to get it all back. I'm tired of it. They took my kids. They took both of my wives. Because he had two wives. Took both of my kids, and I'm going to get them. Nah. Because now if you just did it out of God's will, you went over there and got knocked out. Just run it back in there. Get it all back. You got to seek direction. David lost everything, and he stopped and asked God, shall I pursue? Give me direction. Check this. How can you receive direction if you're not tapped into the director? How can you seek direction? How do you know where to go? Well, we just out here wandering. And whatever looks good, that's when we stop. Because we don't got direction. See, when you stop and say, God, lead me to the person I'm supposed to be with. And until you lead me, I will. Until we get to that point where we're seeking God, we out here just winging it. And then it's mistake after mistake. Fall after fall. even in your hurt times. Because when you're emotionally vulnerable, that's when you're most likely to make a rash decision. I told you a few weeks ago, emotions are irrational. You can't operate on how you feel, because how you feel changes. And for some of us, it changes a little more than others. Some of us are undiagnosed with being bipolar. Y'all know them folks. They be happy for 2 minutes, next thing they know, they got an attitude. For absolutely no reason, you walk up, hey girl, hey, how you doing? Yeah, everything was good, yeah. What you looking at? What happened? What did I do? What did I do? Gotta seek direction. And say, God, I'll wait until you lead. But what happens is, we operate on emotions. We feel a certain way. We tell God, I got it. I got this. This just feels right to me. This just feels like he the one. It just feels like she the one. I mean, I like ice cream, she like ice cream. That's it. It just feels like that's it. I watch cartoons, she watch me watch cartoons. What? And she play Xbox. This is it, dog. Hands down. Lock it down. Put it on the paper. This is it. Gotta seek direction. Somebody say direction. Because what happens is, we'll go our own direction and we'll walk the path. And then we'll realize, oh shoot, I ain't supposed to be here. Now, you gotta waste energy to get all the way back to where you started from. And then what happens is that you waste that energy. Now the energy that you need to get everything that God has for you was wasted on this person that meant you no good. Get caught up in situations, take you all off course, and you just lost over here, all by yourself. Then the light bulb comes on. I don't even like him. Why am I over here? Now I gotta waste energy to get all the way back to my starting point. Then I can pursue what God has for me. Seek direction to prevent backtracking, wasting valuable energy. Now, when you have all that lined up and you're ready to go get what God has for you, a couple things that you gotta understand. Sometimes it can be scary to really step out. You know, then people say we walk by faith and not by sight. That ain't always easy. Because if we don't see it, sometimes it just don't make sense. God's telling you, listen, get up and go do this. I don't know. I don't know about that, God. Now, I trust you, I love you, but they ain't going to receive me over there. If you tell me to go up and take this gospel to my friends, to witness to them and tell them about Jesus Christ, they're going to laugh. They're going to call me church boy. Then I'm going to be associated with the super deep, high-rolling Christians. And then everybody going to be looking at me every time I come around, they want to stop their conversations. Everybody talking, yes. Now when I come around, people feel awkward. Good. Because they should. If people have no problem sitting around you, you need to check your witness. If people ain't got no problem rolling up a blunt in front of you, you need to check your light. Is your light shining? Well, you got it on dim. You got the night light. You got the night light. You got the big light. You got the night light. You got to check it, because what happens is that we doubt what God said based on what we see. But when God grants permission, He has already made provision. Already. When God gives you the green light, that means He has already worked out everything over there on that side. When God tells you to pursue your dream, to go up and get it, and go after everything that He has for you, He has already made the way. All He wants you to do is go get it. But what happens is we look at the situation and say, I don't know, God. And He has already made provision. Some of you are your own worst enemy, because you talk yourself out of what you feel in your spirit. God is telling you, this is your season. This is your time. Get up, start putting stuff in motion. Just get them start walking. I'm going to show you the way. And we say, I don't know. I'm scared. I don't want to just jump out there and then I fail. But when God has granted permission, he has already made provision. When God tells you okay, his okay means you walk. I've already done it ahead of you. So once you get there, all you got to do is claim what I already have for you. And because he's not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he should repent, that always blows my mind because God cannot lie. It is physically unable for him to tell a lie. Now us, we ain't like God. Some of us can lie about everything. I used to lie about stupid stuff. When I say I'm talking about stupid stuff, I mean stupid stuff. My phone can be sitting on the table. That's your phone? Nah. Why? Just because I felt like I'm like, I thank God that he ain't like me. See, some of y'all need to say that too. I thank God he ain't like me. Y'all looking at me with Pastor Will just lie. Look at him. Just lie for no reason. Some of y'all lied all the way over there. But you gotta understand, when God grants permission, he has already made provision. Don't base your life's outlook on what you've lost, because God specializes in recovery. You cannot base your life's outlook on what you've lost. By the time you lost, the virginity that you lost, the innocence, purity, level of truth, whatever you may have lost, peace of mind, your joy, your happiness, you can't base your life on what you lost. God specializes in recovery. It is his specialty to go recover what has been lost. How you think you hear? Because when we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. When we were lost, he came down and said, listen, I need to step in recovery mode because they can't save themselves. So I'll wrap myself in flesh and come down and be born in impoverished conditions, be raised as a carpenter, be ridiculed, spit, nailed to a cross for something I didn't do. Why? Because I specialize in recovery. And his job was to come and get everything that was lost. You, and me. Specializes in recovery. You can't look at your life and say, man, I missed out on an opportunity. Man, I missed out on everything that God had for me. If I would have did this, if only I would have did this, then maybe this would have happened. God has the ability to go into the areas where you've lost some stuff, to take that joy, that happiness that boy took, to take that peace of mind that relationship took out of your life, and restore it all back. He specializes in recovery. I don't know who I'm talking to, but somebody may have lost something, and you felt like it was no hope. Some of you may have lost your hope when it comes to your life. Looking at things and saying, listen, I know what the Bible says, I know what people say, but that just ain't for me. Just no hope for tomorrow, no hope for your dreams, no hope for your promises, no hope for your destiny, no hope for your purpose. God specializes in recovery. And if you give him the opportunity, everything that you lost, he will recover and restore unto your life. If you believe that, just make some noise for Jesus right now. God specializes in recovery. Now, the great thing about God is this. His grace, his mercy, and his love. The package that he extends to us. It doesn't just operate when we do everything right. Now, David was wrong in his approach as to how he would go into people's camps, killing their whole tribes and stealing all their stuff. But even when David was wrong and lost everything, when he came back to God and said, shall I pursue? God told him, pursue, for surely you will overtake them and recover all. God is so great that even when you mess up, even when you've fallen, his love for you, his grace, his mercy, his passion for you allows you the opportunity to go back into the enemy's camp and take back everything that they stole from you. But not only do you claim what they stole, when you do it God's way, somebody say God's way, you always recover more than what you originally started with. When you decide to say, you know what, for God I live and for God I die. I'm not wasting no more time on these relationships, on these people. I'm not wasting no more time getting connected with folk who's going to pull me off course, and then I have to backtrack to get back to where I needed to be so that I can pursue everything that God has for me. When you say, God, I'm going to do it your way, for real. So I'm not talking about the pseudo-spiritual, because we know how to do church. We know how we come in, we go through all emotions. Some of us born and raised in church. How many of y'all were born and raised in church? Yeah, so we know how to do church. We know when to church. We know, shit. We can make up a tongue. We can get up a shit. We know how to do church. That's easy. But when you come in here and you get raw with God, you open up everything, every area of your life. When you say, God, I give it all. I give all my imperfections, all my faults, all my shortcomings. When you do it God's way, you always recover more than what you originally started with. If you skip down in the scripture around about verse 18, it talks about how David went into the enemy's camp. Not only did he recover everything that they stole, but they killed everybody and took everything that they had. Came back with double for all the trouble that they've been put through. If you are willing to get up from where you are and go get everything that God has for you, just because he loves you, the thing is this, favor is not based on what we've done. Faith is based on his genuine love. Because we ain't perfect. I know I made plenty of mistakes. I mean, a lot of them. I made those mistakes too. Since I've been saved, when I heard God telling me to go this way, and I said, yeah, I'm cool. When I heard God say, you don't need to be spending time with this person, you need to be in my presence, and I said, I'm straight. But because he loves, and because of his grace and his mercy, he allows you the opportunity to go claim everything that you lost and get the enemy stuff because he cares that much for you. What have you lost in your life? What have you given up? What are those things that you would let people come in and take from you? It's your decision now to get up and go get everything that God has for you. He has already made the way. He has already made provision. It's your job now to say, you know what? I'm coming after it all. I don't care what has happened, what anybody has said, I want it all. And I want it all back. Whatever you've lost, I'm telling you now, you can get it back. I'm telling you, because I'm a witness. Because I've lost so much because of my own stupidity. But God loved me enough to allow me to go into the enemy's camp and recover, to pursue, to overtake them and recover all. You can recover all. You just got to go get it. You got to leave some folk behind you. You got to get up from where you are and say, you know what? I want it all back. I want it all. I ain't trying to miss out on nothing. I want everything God has for me. How many of y'all feel that way? Well, you want it all. Come on, somebody just say that when you say, I want it all back. No, this is what I need you to understand. That the power of life and death lie in the tongue. And when you speak stuff into the atmosphere, it causes God to respond to your faith. Now, when you say, I want it all back, saying it haphazard don't really do nothing. You say, yeah, I want it all back. You don't have no faith, no conviction behind that. But when you stand up and say, God, everything I lost, I want it all back, it causes God to respond, to sit up on his throne and say, okay, you want it, I'm going to make the way for you. I'm going to cause you to walk into the enemy's camp and everything you lost, I'm going to allow you to get it back. Now, if that's you, if you really believe it, somebody shout, I want it all back. One more time, somebody shout, I want it all back. From the bottom of your heart, somebody shout, I want it all back. Listen, we're going to do this song before we get out of here. It's a prophetic song, which I believe the Ty Tribbett recorded and said, I want it all back. Everything that the devil stole from me, I want it all. We are waging war on the kingdom of Satan. And everything that that punk thought he was going to take from your life, it's time for us to go into his camp, kick down the door, and take it back. What do you want from God? Put it in your mind right now. What you want.